You are welcome to study session 12, Nutritional Approach to Mental Health. Introduction. It is no news that the food you eat affects and influences your health. Cutting back on rubbish or junk food and taking healthier options helps you keep a healthy heart, strong muscles, and a fitting weight. Your mood can also be affected by what you eat. For example, have you ever felt depressed after eating a lot of fast food? Do you have a more positive outlook after eating a green salad or some vegetables? Research is still on by medical scientists who desire to know how our choice of meals affect our mood. It could also be referred to as food-mood connection. There are a lot of questions yet to be answered. For example, does a vitamin deficiency make people feel more depressed? What amount of a certain supplement will improve a person's mental health? In this study, we will continue our study on mental health, nutritional approach, and behavioral therapy. Learning outcomes for study session 12. At the end of this study, you should be able to 1. Define nutrition. 2. List and explain nutrients useful for mental health. 3. Discuss behavioral therapy. Nutrition. Food production and manufacturing methods, coupled with changing lifestyles and rising access to processed food, mean that our intake of fresh, nutritious, local produce is growing at a reduced rate day by day. At the same time as our intake of fat, sugar, alcohol, and additives is much higher. Mental health is a core part of the human health. Truly, there is no health without the mental part of the body. All other body parts depend on the mental health for survival. Nutritional awareness has to be put in place in order to promote mental health and general well-being of all people. Nutrition, according to World Health Organization (WHO), is the intake of food considered in relation to the body's dietary needs. Good nutrition and adequate, well-balanced diet combined with regular physical activity is a cornerstone of good health. Poor nutrition can lead to reduced immunity, increased susceptibility to disease, impaired physical and mental development, and reduced productivity. What we are eating now is very different from that of our recent ancestors. Nutrients useful for mental health. A wide variety of vitamins, minerals, and amino acids are related to the maintenance of a normal mood. Deficiencies of any of these can present problems. Advocates of nutritional approaches to the treatment of mood disorders give several reasons why supplementation may be appropriate. The following are some of the class of food nutrients needed to meet mental health challenges. Phosphatidylcholine, lecithin. A fairly convincing number of studies suggest that this substance has significant effects on the manic depressive, with some claiming that it stabilizes moods while others suggesting that it serves as mood depressant. It is probable that it actually has both actions, as does the prescription drug Depakote. L-taurine. Taurine is an amino acid that has been shown to have an anti-convulsion qualities and appears to be potentially helpful for both epileptics and those suffering from manic depression, especially the rapid cycling form. The usual recommended dosage seems to be 500 to 1000 mg, 1 to 3 times per day. GABA. GABA is usually classified as amino acid, although it actually serves as a neurotransmitter. There are more GABA sites in the brain than for any of the other neurotransmitters such as dopamine or serotonin. GABA basically serves as an inhibitory transmitter, keeping the brain and body from going into overdrive. B complex. The B vitamins are important factors in determining mood. Deficiencies of any of or all of these vitamins can produce significant symptoms relating to depression, anxiety, irritability, lethargy, and fatigue. Many bipolar state that supplementation of B vitamins is extremely important to helping them to feel better. Thiamine B1's deficiencies tend to produce the following clusters of symptoms, frequently reported by the manic depressive: chronic fatigue, irritability, memory loss, personality changes such as aggression, insomnia, anxiety, restlessness, night terrors, appetite loss, sensitivity to noise, numbness and tingling in hands and feet, and circulation problems. Supplementation is usually 100 to 500 mg of this vitamin per day in addition to the B complex. B6. pyridoxal 5 phosphate. Deficiency of this vitamin can cause irritability, which is expressed by many manic depressives. Those women who suffer from PMS, birth control pill-induced irritability, and postpartum depression often have deficiencies of this vitamin. Magnesium and calcium. Magnesium deficiency may lead to various problems such as anxiety, insomnia, especially that which consists of waking up in the middle of the night and being unable to go back to sleep. Fatigue, as experienced in chronic fatigue syndrome. Fibromyalgia, high blood pressure or PMS. Supplementation of this mineral is therefore desired for most people, especially those with mood problems. Magnesium is usually supplemented concurrently with calcium since the two work together, and since absorption tends to be greater when they are taken together. Calcium may also act to relax the individual. The usual recommendations is 2 parts calcium to 1 part magnesium. For example, 1000 mg of calcium and 500 mg of magnesium taken at bedtime. However, a higher ratio of magnesium may be used to control PMS or similar conditions. Manganese. Manganese is a trace mineral that, in deficiency, can produce fatigue, irritability, memory problems, and most specific for diagnosis, air noises such as ringing. Zinc. Deficiency in zinc can contribute to mental problems and is especially common among people who suffer from pyroluria, a condition where an above average amount of a substance called cryptopyrrole circulates in the body. Generally, supplementation of no more than 30 mg is recommended unless a diagnosis of pyroluria has been made through lab test. L-tyrosine. L-tyrosine is an amino acid that serves as a precursor to the neurotransmitter norepinephrine and dopamine, which have been shown to be deficient in many depressives during their depressed cycles. The supplementation of this amino acid may help the body to form more of these substances during these difficult times. In addition, it may be helpful in cases when clinical or subclinical thyroid disease is present. General recommendations are usually 500 to 5000 mg per day on an empty stomach in the morning or early afternoon. Start at a low level and then work up gradually. L-phenylalanine and G-L-phenylalanine. Phenylalanine is a precursor to tyrosine and so exhibits many of the same effects. In addition, the supplementation of phenylalanine can help the body to produce a substance called phenylethylamine, which has been shown to be deficient in many depressives. Phenylethylamine is also present in chocolate and marijuana and is created by the body in greater amounts when the individual is in love. Conversely, a deficiency such as that suffered by many depressives may lead to an unhappy feeling similar to that which normal people feel when they are heartbroken. The usual recommendation for the combination of tyrosine and phenylalanine (DL or L) is 500 to 5000 mg per day on an empty stomach in the morning or early afternoon. It is generally recommended that users start with a low dose and work up gradually. Methionine. Methionine is an amino acid that has been shown to be helpful for some individuals suffering from depression. Its metabolite, SAM, has also been used to treat depression in some countries. 500 to 2000 mg per day. L-tryptophan is an amino acid that serves as a precursor to the neurotransmitter serotonin, the one that is affected by SSRI drugs such as Prozac, Zoloft, and the like. L-tryptophan was quite popular in treating depression and insomnia. Behavioral therapy. Behavioral therapy is a broad term referring to psychotherapy, behavioral, analytical, or a combination of the two therapies. In its broadest sense, the methods focus on either just behaviors or in combination with thoughts and feelings that might be causing them. Those who practice behavioral therapy tend to look more at specific, learned behaviors and how the environment has an impact on those behaviors. Behavioral therapy is a set of clinical procedures relying on experimental findings of psychological research. It is based on principles of learning that are systematically applied and client schemes of self-management. It is rooted in the principles of behaviorism. a school of thought focused on the idea that we learn from our environment. In behavioral therapy, the goal is to reinforce desirable behaviors and eliminate unwanted or maladaptive ones. Treatment goals are specific and measurable, focusing on the client's current problems. One important thing to note about the various behavioral therapies is that, unlike some other types of therapy that are rooted in insight, such as psychoanalytic and humanistic therapies, behavioral therapy is action based. Behavioral therapists are focused on using the same learning strategies that led to the formation of unwanted behaviors as well as other new behaviors. Because of this, behavioral therapy tends to be highly focused. The behavior itself is the problem, and the goal is to teach clients new behaviors to minimize or eliminate the issue. Old learning led to the development of a problem, and so the idea is that new learning can fix it. There are four major aspects of behavioral therapy: cognitive behavioral therapy, applied behavioral analysis, social learning theory, classical conditioning. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy relies on behavioral techniques but adds a cognitive element, focusing on the problematic thoughts that underlie behaviors, emphasizes cognitive processes and private events such as client self-talk as mediators of behavior change. Applied behavior analysis. Applied behavior analysis uses operant conditioning to shape and modify problematic behaviors. It focuses on actions that operate on the environment to produce consequences. If the environmental change brought about by the behavior is reinforcing, the chances are strengthened that the behavior will occur again. But if the environmental changes produce no reinforcement, the chances are lessened that the behavior will reoccur. Social learning theory. Social learning theory gives prominence to the reciprocal interactions between an individual's behavior and the environment. This theory encourages centers where people learn through the observation method. Observing others being rewarded or punished for their actions can lead to learning and behavior change. Classical conditioning. In classical conditioning, certain respondent behaviors, such as knee jerks and salivation, are elicited from a passive organism. The foundation of behavioral therapy. In order to understand how behavioral therapy works, let's start by exploring the two basic principles that contribute to behavioral therapy: classical and operant conditioning. Classical conditioning is an association of stimulus. Previously, neutral stimuli are paired with a stimulus that naturally and automatically evokes a response. After repeated pairings, an association is formed, then the previously neutral stimulus comes to evoke the response on its own. Classical conditioning is one way to alter behavior, and a number of techniques exist that can produce such change. Originally known as behavior modification, this type of therapy is often referred to today as applied behavior analysis. Some of the techniques and strategies used in this approach to therapy include flooding, systematic desensitization, aversion therapy, token economics, contingency management, modeling, extinction. Flooding. This process involves exposing people to fear-invoking objects or situations intensely and rapidly. It is often used to treat phobias, anxiety, and other stress-related disorders. During the process, the individual is prevented from escaping or avoiding the situation. For example, flooding might be used to help a client who is suffering from an intense fear of dogs. At first, the client might be exposed to a small friendly dog for an extended period of time, during which he or she cannot leave. After repeated exposures to the dog, during which nothing bad happens, the fear response begins to fade. Systematic desensitization. This technique involves having a client make a list of fears and then teaching the individual to relax while concentrating on these fears. The use of this process began with psychologist John B. Watson and his famous Little Albert experiment, in which he conditioned a young child to fear a white rat. Later, Mary Cover Jones replicated Watson's results and utilized counter-conditioning techniques to desensitize and eliminate the fear response. Systematic desensitization is often used to treat phobias. The process follows three basic steps. First, the client is taught relaxation techniques. Next, the individual creates a ranked list of fear-invoking situations, starting with the least fear-inducing item and working their way up to the most fear-inducing item. The client confronts these fears under the guidance of the therapist while maintaining a relaxed state. For example, an individual with a fear for dark might start by looking at an image of a dark room before moving on to thinking about being in a dark room, and then actually confronting his fear by sitting in a dark room. By pairing the old fear producing stimulus with the newly learned relaxation behavior, the phobic response can be reduced or even eliminated. Aversion therapy. This process involves pairing an undesirable behavior with an aversive stimulus in the hope that the unwanted behavior will eventually be reduced. For example, someone suffering from alcoholism might utilize a drug known as disulfiram, which causes severe symptoms such as headaches, nausea, anxiety, and vomiting when combined with alcohol. Because the person becomes extremely ill when they drink, the drinking behavior may be eliminated. Operant conditioning focuses on how reinforcement and punishment can be utilized to either increase or decrease the frequency of a behavior. Behaviors followed by desirable consequences are more likely to occur again in the future, while those followed by negative consequences become less likely to occur. Behavioral therapy based on operant conditioning. Many behavioral techniques rely on the principles of operant conditioning, which means that they utilize reinforcement, punishment, shaping, modeling, and related techniques to alter behavior. These methods have the benefit of being highly focused, which means that they can produce fast and effective results. Some of the techniques and strategies used in this approach to behavioral therapy include token economics. This type of behavioral strategy relies on reinforcement to modify behavior. Clients are allowed to earn tokens that can be exchanged for special privileges or desired items. Parents and teachers often use token economies to reinforce good behavior. Kids earn tokens for engaging in preferred behaviors and may even use tokens for displaying undesirable behaviors. These tokens can then be traded for things such as candy, toys, or extra time playing with a favorite toy. Contingency management. This approach utilizes a formal written contract between the client and the therapist that outlines the behavior change goals, enforcements and rewards that will be given, and the penalties for failing to meet the demands of the agreement. These types of agreements aren't just used by therapists. Teachers and parents also often use them with students and children in the form of behavior contracts. Contingency contracts can be very effective in producing behavior changes since the rules are spelled out clearly in black and white, preventing both parties from backing down on their promises. Modeling. This technique involves learning through observation and modeling the behavior of others. The process is based on Albert Bandura's social learning theory, which emphasizes the social components of the learning process rather than relying simply on reinforcement or punishment. Modeling allows individuals to learn new skills or acceptable behaviors by watching someone else perform those desired skills. In some cases, the therapist might model the desired behavior in other instances. Watching peers engage in the sought after behaviors can also be helpful. Extinction. Another way to produce behavior change is to stop reinforcing a behavior in order to eliminate the response. Timeouts are a perfect example of the extinction process. During a timeout, a person is removed from a situation that provides reinforcement. For example, a child who starts yelling or striking other children will be removed from the play activity and required to sit quietly in a corner or another room where there are no opportunities for attention and reinforcement. By taking away the attention that the child found rewarding, the unwanted behavior is eventually distinguished. 6. Interventions individually tailored to specific problems. What treatment by whom is the most effective for this individual with that specific problem and under which set of circumstances. 7. Based on collaborative partnership between therapists and clients. Clients informed about nature and cause of RX. It emphasizes practical application. Interventions applied. Take 2. 8. It emphasizes practical application. Interventions applied to all facets of daily life in which maladaptive behaviors are to be decreased and adaptive behaviors are to be increased. Therapists strive to develop culture-specific procedures and obtain clients' adherence and cooperation. Types of therapy. Therapy can be given in a variety of formats, including individual, group, marital or couples, and family. Individual. This therapy involves only the patient and the therapist. Group. 2 or more patients may participate in therapy at the same time. Patients are able to share experiences and learn that others feel the same way and have had the same experiences. Marital or couples. This type of therapy helps spouses and partners understand why their loved one has a mental disorder, what changes in communication and behaviors can help, and what they can do to cope. Family. Because family is a key part of the team that helps people with mental illness get better, it is sometimes helpful for family members to understand what their loved one is going through, how they themselves can cope, and what they can do to help. Summary of study session 12. In this study session, you have learnt that 1. Nutrition plays a major role in mental health. Food production and manufacturing methods, coupled with changing lifestyles and rising access to processed foods, mean that our intake of fresh, nutritious, local produce is growing at a reduced rate day by day. 2. There are nutrients that are profiting to our mental well-being. Some are phosphatide choline, L-taurine, GABA, magnesium and calcium. 3. Behavioral therapy. Behavioral therapy is a broad term referring to psychotherapy, behavior analytical, or a combination of the two therapies. In its broadest sense, the methods focus on either just behaviors or in combination with thoughts and feelings that might be causing them. Those who practice behavioral therapy tend to look more at specific learned behaviors and how the environment has an impact on those behaviors. We have come to the end of study session 12.